everyone, and welcome to the channel IRS. We continue our R90 SP3, where I am trying to beat Fernando Alonso lap time, which is 45.5 here at Daytona Sandown Park Circuit with their D-Max go-karts, 125cc 2-strokes. And this is week number 5, guys. I am already doing my practice session, so let's go, let's try to do our best.
Excuse me, what type of the vehicles is this?
This is a Mallock. Yeah, classic Clubman. Classic Clubmans.
Classic Clubmans.
Yeah, the car's a Mallock from 1976, I think.
A Mallock?
Yeah.
70.
The Mallock company are here today. Behind where the fuel garage is, you'll see the big Mallock sign.
Oh,
That's Richard Mallock.
and the car's named Mallock as well?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's a family of the good people that build them.
Nice one, thank you very much.
Family, there's.
And they here as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant, that's nice.
The son of. Who's the Arthur? Richard is the son of the guy who started the company in 1948. Yeah, Arthur,
1948.
Arthur Mallock started the company, and then there's Richard Mallock, who's over there at the moment, and his brother. What's his brother's name? Ray Mallock.
Ray Mallock.
Yeah, this is Richard. Yep.
Richard Mallock, Ray Mallock.
Richard is over there.
Richard is over there.
Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you very much, guys. Thank you
Their father's no more, he's passed away. So Ray Mallock passed away.
Got it. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, I understand it. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Thank you. Right, so this is Saturday, guys, and I continue R90 SP3, where I try to beat Fernando Alonso at Daytona Sandown Park Circuit. His best lap time is 45.5 with their go-kart D-Max. And you know, after my last practice session, I've been thinking a lot about my driving style, and yes, I know last week we spoke about the engines, but this week I decide that I want to talk about driving style, and I'll be back to the engines later. We're definitely gonna back maybe next week, maybe after next week we will be back to the theme about engines, definitely, because there is some interesting events upcoming. But today I am visiting Snetterton Circuit, and the main point why I'm visiting exactly Snetterton, because here we have historical car championship, and it's a lot and lots of different vehicles here today, starting from 1950s I think, and going all the way to the 1970s. So I think this is exactly the place and exactly the event where I can speak to the drivers about driving style, because these cars, they're different, and that means that the driving style is going to be different. So let's go, guys, and let's find out more and more information, because we need it. My last practice session at Sandown Park is 47.0. Definitely something going wrong. Let's sort it out.
Get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park in the meantime. Turn on the river, you stop and you hold everything. Band is blowing Dixie, double ball time. Feel alright, ready to music ring. Well, now you step inside, but you don't see too many faces. Coming in out of the rain, I hear the jazz go down. Competition in other places. Got the horns blowing that sound. Way on down south. Way on down south, London town.
Right, guys, so here we are, just next to me. What is your name, sir?
It's John Hutchison.
So can you tell us a little bit about your car, what you're driving, what vehicle?
Okay, so today we're driving an Lotus Elan GTS 1962 Series 2. So it's been a racing car for about 10 years.
And is the all parts here, I mean, of course not all parts original here, but like if we take the engine block and stuff like that, is that all original from 1960s?
Not all of it, no. A lot of it is remanufactured to the original specifications. So the engine is a 1600cc twin cam, but I can't guarantee that the block's the same one. It's likely to have been broken in its time.
Okay, but all the rest in the car, like a body and all that stuff?
Well, the body's a lightweight body, so that was remanufactured probably about 10 years ago when the car was converted into racing.
10 years ago. And can you tell me a little bit, because I do my YouTube projects,
Yes.
I do a racing driving, but I do it on the go-karts, you know?
Okay.
And what I'm interested about, what is the driving style on the cars? How the racing driver should behave with the cars? Because with the go-kart, I think you're a bit more aggressive.
Yes, well, it depends on your car and the setup, and very much on the tyres. So we race on historic Dunlops. So these are cross-ply tyres, and they're very slidey. So we adopt a sideways style. So you flick the car into a corner and then control the rear end slide with the accelerator.
So you're catching it with accelerator.
Yes, it's a bit like rallycross in some senses, because you have low rear grip.
So it's the tires is exactly like it used to be before.
Correct. Yes.
In 1960s.
Yeah. If you look at the tyres, you can see the original tread patterns.
So let's say that we can say that the driving style with your vehicle is more like a not drifting, but a little bit sliding around the corner and then catching it on the throttle.
Exactly. Yes. You have low grip and high power.
Now we move to the next driver, and her name's Sarah. Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about your vehicle? What type of vehicle you race?
Right, well, this is a Lancia Beta. Lancia Beta, so it's a 2-litre engine. It's transfers and it's front-wheel drive.
Only it's a front.
Yeah. So there aren't many on the grid. Most of them are rear-wheel drive. So the front tyres warm up very quickly, but it's not so fast off the grid to start. Tends to get a bit of wheel slip. The rear-wheel drive cars will always be quicker off the grid.
So they will pull away much.
Yeah, but
Maybe not much quicker, but quicker.
Quicker. The good thing about this is it's very nippy through the corners. It's very good through the corners, and you can get the power on straight away. You don't have to wait until you're in a straight line, because with a rear-wheel drive, the car will do this if you put the power down too soon. With front-wheel drive, you'll get a bit of slip on one or other of the front wheels, the one that's on the inside, but the other one will grip. So you just keep your foot down and keep going.
And
so you never lift off. If you lift off, you'll slip.
Really?
Yeah. If you're
So when you come back on a power after the braking, before the apex or after the apex?
Just before, usually.
Just before the apex?
Yeah.
It's really early.
Power through, yeah.
It's
power
really
through
early.
it.
And what year is your vehicle?
It's 1976.
76.
Uh-huh.
And can I ask you, is everything here standard? I mean, of course, I know it's rebuilt it, but the engine block and chassis, is that all standard?
Yeah, I mean, it's got one carburettor. Most of the Alphas have got twin carbs.
Why this one has only one?
This only had, because that's what it came out of the factory with.
So this is original?
So I have to have only one carburettor.
Aha. So how you race against the twin carburetor?
It's an advantage being front-wheel drive.
And one more question, because I am interested. It's a lot of different cars, and can you tell me what is the driving style for your car? I know that you said me that it's a grippy.
Yeah.
But can brake later, or you still brake early because this is a front-wheel drive? And do you go through the corners more aggressive or smoother?
You can go through more aggressively.
More aggressively.
Braking is the same, because most people have got an engine over the front, so the load is all on the front anyway. So that helps your tyres to grip and brake. The back end's a bit more light and moving around a bit. Yeah. So you tend to run the rear tyres quite a bit higher pressure than the fronts. The fronts warm up really quickly, and the brakes warm up really quickly because of that.
So the higher pressure at the back will let them warm up quicker?
Yeah, that you need them to warm up. And in fact, I tend to run quite a lot of fuel in the back to put some weight over. I know.
The fuel tank is at the back?
Yeah, the fuel tank's right over the axle in the boot.
And how is I know that you do short races.
Yeah.
Like how many laps?
That was a 20-minute race.
20-minute race.
Yeah, but I also do 1 hour races.
Do you feel significant difference between the full tank and the half tank?
I just nail it, mate.
That's a spirit.
It just gets lighter.
That's a good one. Can you tell me a little bit, what is it about? Where happening this event? How many rounds it has?
Okay, so this club is the Historic Sports Car Club, and it will run something between 10 and 12 races a year in the UK. We also go to Spa-Francorchamps with the club, and my son race in Holland as well, with a different club. So we race all the way around the UK and around some circuits in Europe, and there are lots of different categories. So today the categories are all closed wheels, so they're all sports cars or saloon cars, and some clubmans, historic clubmans.
And exists the other type of historical cars?
The open wheel cars, so the Formula cars, also race with the same club at different circuits. They just not happen to be here today.
And can I ask you a bit maybe personal question? When you started to race?
I started to race, my first race was when I was 17 in Singapore, where my family lived, but more recently in my 30s I bought a Lotus 7 and started racing that.
In 30s?
In my 30s, yeah.
So we can say that the age doesn't have a limit. We can do that any time.
Yeah, as long as you can see, you can drive.
But the nice thing about this is there's very little contact. We can trust each other.
I think because of the experience, isn't it?
It's the experience, and it's also, we do this for fun. We lost a very beautiful 911 in qualifying this morning.
Yes.
And he managed to do both ends of his beautiful car, and nobody wants that.
Yeah, I could see that.
And he did do it on his own, admittedly.
And what happened to him?
I think he went wide on the first corner. got on the muck and then speared straight across to the inside, and he did the front and the rear, which is a terrible shame.
And that is disappointing. You just started.
Yeah.
He just started, and to see the car like this after practice session.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's had problems. There's at least 3 people already gone home with problems, and this now I can't get first or second gear. So I'm not doing the second race.
Oh.
But then the actuating mechanism in the engine bay for the gear shift is probably 35 years old.
35?
Well, probably. I've never changed it.
So that's why it's gone.
Well, quite likely, yes. So,
Nice one.
You can only do so much, and then something will go, something will fail. So there's another guy whose clutch is slipping, and there's no point racing with a slipping clutch. You're just going to go backwards.
How is it easy to get the parts for these vehicles?
Yeah, it is. Yes. Yeah, there's quite a few of them around, and there's at least 2 specialist Lancia parts people in the UK, one up the road from here.
So you can fit your parts from the modern vehicles, or it's specially made for this one?
No, they're historic vehicle.
Vehicle.
Yeah.
Check out Guitar George. He knows all the chords. Playing the strictly rhythm, he doesn't want to make it cry or sing. Said an old guitar is all he can afford. When he gets up under the lights, play that thing. Yeah. And Harry doesn't mind if he doesn't make the scene. He's got a daytime job, he's doing alright. He can play the honky-tonk like anything. Shooting it up Friday night with the Sultan. With the Sultans of Swing.
Just next to me is Mark, and we're gonna speak about his car because this is very, very interesting, and I think the oldest car in this event, isn't it? Am I right?
One of the oldest cars. It's a 1959 car.
1959.
Yeah, so it's pretty old.
And the car is Jaguar XJ.
It's a Jaguar XK150S. It's been racing for quite some years. I bought it about 5 years ago, and I've been racing it pretty heavily over the last 5 years. It's been a pretty reliable car. I've probably done between 19 and 30 races per year over the last 4 to 5 years.
1930 races.
I love racing. This is not really a race car, of course. It was designed as a saloon car.
Yeah.
And not that many raced in period. It's quite a heavy car. It weighs 1,300 kilos, so it's not an easy car to go into the corners. You have to brake early because it's so heavy, and you have to slide it around the corners again because it's so heavy. But it's got a 3.8 engine, so it's quite powerful, and of course it's a Jaguar. That 3.8 XK engine has got a huge amount of torque. Wow. So it pulls very nicely in most gears. So it is a lovely car to drive, but one has to know it's not a race car. It's not light. It doesn't rev very, very highly, but it has plenty of torque. But it's a pleasure to drive it. Inside and outside, it's a beautiful car. So as a driver, it feels lovely driving this car.
Ross. Ian Ross,
Yeah.
right. Yellow beauty, which is called Ginetta. Ross, can you tell us about this car? How old this car? What the history of this car?
Oh yeah, this car was built in 1968 by the Ginetta Motor Company under the Woolkit brothers, and it was the most successful model they ever built. They built about 800 of them.
Only?
But for a very small kit car manufacturer, that was quite big.
Well, yeah,
quite
yeah.
big volume.
Yeah, that means not only.
Yeah, I've also got another Ginetta, which is a G16, which there's only 8 of. Right? And so there's a history of Ginettas, and they basically built sports cars, but got into racing pretty early. This particular car was in the previous owner's ownership for since around about 2000, I think. and it's raced in the UK. It was a class championship winner when he was a bit younger, and it was also, he raced it in the States for 3 years, so sports car. It's basically a tiny little car with a 998cc Hillman engine.
Only?
Only. It's the smallest engine on the grid of any of the historic sports car ones.
Whoa.
But it produces about 108 brake horsepower and only weighs 570 kilos, so it's extremely light. But having said that, it's never going to beat the much more powerful cars.
But it's still quick around the corners, isn't it?
It's quite quick around the corners. It's also very quick off the line because there's virtually no weight and the engine's at the back. And
so it's at the back.
The engine's at the back, yeah. And
the new Ginettas comes at the front, isn't it?
Yeah. They're much more designed around a Ford Pinto engine. And they're designed as a front as an introduction, junior novice racing category for young people, basically. Although it's a very good, cheap way of racing. These things are also a very cheap way of racing because whatever you pay for it, when you actually get to sell it, you'll probably get at least the same amount of money.
Well, it's reasonable.
That's reasonable
to buy.
So the reason I do this racing is because the asset cost of the vehicle is really low. But this car has to be, by the regulations, road legal. So this has an MOT, it has road tax, it has insurance.
So you can drive it on the road?
You wouldn't want to. well, anyway, no distance at all, I tell you. It's bloody noisy and bloody uncomfortable.
Yeah. With this seat, no, I don't want. What is the driving style with this vehicle? If we, let's say, going around the corner, what is the braking style? What is the turning in, acceleration?
Well, because it's a heavy car, as I said earlier on, you have to make sure that the car does slow down. Again, because it's a heavy car, the turning is not like a light car. The turning is not as precise as a very light car, like a go-kart, or a Formula Junior car. So you have to sort of make sure that you get your lines correct. You have to make sure the speed into the corner is correct. It's better to go slow and then start putting the acceleration on as you get into the corner, and then really floor it as you're beginning to come out of the corner. But yeah, you have to sort of slide it around a bit. You have to sort of
slide it.
You have to force it around some of the corners.
I thought you have to be smoother with this vehicle. Am I right?
Well, there's a little bit of both. I'm sure I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert driver, so I would say even after 5 years, I'm still learning how to do it properly. But over the years, I've got faster and faster. I feel very comfortable in the car. But it is a car you can throw around a little bit because it doesn't. Although it twitches, it doesn't twitch so badly that you lose it straight away. There's quite a lot of give before you lose the car.
And I think because you have a lot of torque, because this is 3.2, yes?
3.8.
3.8.
Yes, there's a lot of torque. So you can pull from low revs.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And it does pull very, very nicely. And obviously when you're competing against some of the smaller literage cars, generally what you find is that it's faster on the straight, but much slower in the corners compared to the smaller and the lighter cars. And they can go around the corners a lot quicker than I can. So often we have some very good racers with cars of smaller litres and lighter cars, where we're sort of jostling position between corners and straights.
And you racing in a class together with the Lotus?
No, with those guys.
Oh, with those guys?
Yeah, because they've got bigger engines than me.
And you're still competitive with them?
Yeah.
Well, are they quicker on the straight?
No, not really, to be honest, because I've got...
lighter, actually.
I'm lighter. Number one, I'm lighter. My gearing is such that I just about reached the rev limiter at the end of the wrong straight. It's only 4 gears. Those are very well set up too. I mean, they're good cars. They've got a much shorter wheelbase, you notice? And they're more go-kart-like. You can actually drag them around easier. This one is a little bit longer in the wheelbase, but it gets power down really quickly because it's so light. So, for example, my acceleration in first and second gear beats them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But there are other cars in this class which there's another one which is a Turner, which is a car nobody's ever heard of. That's really quick, and that's the class champion. And I'm miles behind him at the moment.
Well,
I don't know if that's set up or experience, but I think it's probably experience.
I think sometimes it's combined, and
I blame it on the car.
It's easier.
It's easier.
Yeah, and you know, the one last question, because I'm here all day, guys. I'm walking, I'm looking at the drivers, and I'm 37, and I started my racing career. And everyone's saying me, my family and everyone's saying me, it's too late. But guys, I'm looking at you, and you makes me positive about racing.
Well, you should do. I mean, I didn't start racing till I was 64. So
64.
Yeah.
Seriously? I thought you were only 50. Maximum.
Flattery will get you everywhere. No, 64. So no, but it's.
How do you think is the age? It's something. What makes you slower, or?
No, I don't think it makes you slower. I don't think once you. I mean, driving is not about. To me, motor racing is not. It's not about doing everything super fast, super quick. Mm-hmm. It's about thinking and about planning and about realizing where you are and feeling a car. And my eyesight's perfectly good. My legs work, my arms work.
So, as a racing driver says, it's always look ahead.
Oh, absolutely. Look through whatever you're doing. Yeah, that's what it's about. But there are some people out there who are in the same age as me who are unbelievably quick.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Just now we had a 1 hour race, and they were smashing all the corners. It was so quick. So I was amazed, with the driving styles.
Well, and similarly, my driving instructor is the same age as I am. He's been racing though for 40 years, more than that, 40 years.
For about 5 months. The style had to come back at some point, I think. No, it's classic Lotus.
Just a second.
Yeah.
So I'll come to you.
Oh, sorry.
So what's your name?
John Harrison.
So can you tell me a little bit about your vehicle?
Yeah, it's a Mallock Mark 21.
Mark 21.
Which is the latest one you can have in the classic Clubmans. It's up to 1980, so it's a 1980 car.
1980.
Yeah, and it's an A Sport, which means it's got the tuned engine. That one's a B Sport, which is a Formula Ford engine, and this one has got a 1700 A Sport, which is all steel internals, about 190 horsepower, so it's quite lively.
And how long you race that vehicle?
This vehicle I've had for 8 years now.
8 years.
Yeah.
And everything there is standard how it used to be in 1980s.
Yeah, certain things have moved on a little bit.
More
tires.
engine things. Oh, tires.
Yeah, no, the engines are controlled, where we have to have a set camshaft, which is a controlled camshaft. It's an A8. The bore size and the stroke is controlled. Choke sizes and the carburetors are controlled, and you can't have things like high lift rockers and what have you. So there's a fair bit of control on it to keep the engines reliable. That's the reason for it.
For how long you can use this engine?
We try and rebuild it once a year. I mean, it got rebuilt about halfway through last year. It hasn't been touched since then. So
well, it's really reliable.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah, they are good. Yeah,
and can you tell me a little bit about driving style? How you drive this vehicle around the corners on the straight?
Yeah, well, there's slicks and wings, so you get a fair amount of downforce, even though it is an old car.
And it's 100% slicks.
100% slicks, yeah. Again, they're controlled tyres. We have to run the A24 Avon, so you get a fair bit of downforce. It's not like driving a sports car or anything like that, because it's more akin to driving a single-seater. Even though it's a front-engine car, we've got where the engine is mounted, it's single-seater weight distribution, so 60 rear, 40 front, about where it is. So it's just really like driving a single-seater with the sitting position to the offside.
So you have to be, I would say, around the corner, not too much aggressive, more smooth.
Yeah, you got to you do have to get hold of it and give it a good, you know, you don't just, you've got to be fairly smooth with it and precise with it. I mean, you can actually turn in quite quickly and go through corners quite quickly with it because you've got the downforce with it.
So you can come back on the power earlier.
Oh yeah, come back on the power quite quickly. Particularly that corner up top there, which, you know, you just lift to turn in and then you're flat in top through there. So, you know, you can feel it. It's good. They're good cars.
So I can say that you are Classic Clubman Championship coordinator.
Yes, I'm a championship coordinator, and I'm on the HSCC board, the controlling board of the club.
Will be better if I'll ask you about it.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. All right, sorry, yeah, okay. I just wondered where we were going to go. Yeah. So, what was your name, by the way?
Anatoly.
Anatoly.
Yeah. One more time, your name?
My name is Mike Sales.
Sorry about
Mike
Sales.
Yeah.
You know, I'm first time here. First time see historical car championship.
Yes.
Can you tell me about it more? How it became so big and popular? You know?
Well, it is very popular. Historic racing is the biggest growth sector of motor racing in the Great Britain and certainly in Europe now. And a lot of these cars just languished in garages and workshops. Lotus single-seater classes, loads of sports car classes. Our own particular class, this is our fifth championship year with them, and look, we're an entry level compared to some of the others. We don't command the same amount of money as, say, like a Chevron V8 sports car, which is worth a lot of money. But we're more of an entry level. But Clubman's has been around for over 50 years. Classic Clubman's. 50 years. We had our 50th anniversary 2 years ago, and our cars have been racing since 1965. The championship continues all the way through to this year.
The one more question, which is really interesting, I would say for me, because lots of people saying me that in my 37 it's too late to start racing. What can you say about this? Yes.
37?
Yes.
Well, if I was you, you turn your age round, and that's my age, so I don't think you've got anything to worry about.
So I have all the chances to go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah. No problem at all.
You see that?
No problem at all. 37, I wish.
Nice one. Thank you very much for all information, sir.
No problem at all.
Thank you very much.
So
just here we have a car which won the race number 1, and next to me, Clive. Yes, you. What is your duties in the team?
I'm tea maker.
Tea maker. and you making this car winning?
In a way, yes. No, it's all down to young Steve there, who does all the mechanical work on it.
Can you tell me a little bit about these cars? Can you tell me a bit of history of this car? What class of the vehicle this one?
No, Steve, can you come and answer?
I'm terrible.
It's a Chevron B8. They. Sorry, let me just check.
Yeah, no problems.
When were they manufactured?
65, I think.
Yeah.
1965.
1965. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It runs with a 2-litre BMW engine.
BMW engine.
Yeah.
And this car, as I understand, this is the middle engine.
It's mid-engine. Well, yes, more or less mid-engine. It runs a Hewland gearbox. It was. They made a limited number in the mid-60s, and the Chevron company reinvented itself a couple of times. And they, in fact, tried to make a road-going version, but that wasn't very successful.
So they tried to make a road car, and instead of that, they made a racing car.
No. They made the racing car, then they tried to make a road car.
Oh, so after racing car.
Yeah.
Okay, I think racing there looks much better.
They're very pretty cars, aren't they?
Yeah. And what can you tell about history of this vehicle? When you bought it, and when it was built as a racing car?
Well, Charles Allison owns it, and has raced it successfully for at least 10 years.
10 years with you?
With us, yeah. And been very successful. It's a very quick car, and it's very reliable. We run the blue one as well, but that one has had lots of problems. It broke a drive shaft today.
Oh, so it's like a body problem, so like a dry shaft chassis.
That's it, yeah.
But the engines reliable?
The engines are very good.
Is that because it's BMW?
Yeah, absolutely. Very little trouble there mechanically. They're fine. They're fine.
I'm just a big fan of BMW, you know.
So am I. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You see. So, and what can you tell about the driving style of these cars? Is that difficult to drive them? I mean, you have to be smoother, aggressive.
I think smoothness helps in any racing car, but these are particularly easy to drive. They haven't got really savage clutches or anything like that, and so they're to drive slowly around the paddock.
It's really nice.
Okay. Not so sure on the racetrack. I can't answer that one.
But I think it's still good balance because of the mid-engine.
Yes, it is. Yes. Also, driving position. If you see, it's nearly central. It's
yeah. The seat is like almost central. Yeah. Is that really helps when you're sitting more in the middle?
Yes, it balances out the car more and that sort of thing. But you know, also visibility is very good in these. A lot of racing cars, you get in them and you're very limited on your vision, but you get a good all-round view with these. So it makes
and you're still sitting low, isn't it? Your sitting position is still low.
Yes, it is. It is. But big screen and you know, not too many obstructions at the rear, so you can see what's happening.
Amazing. And how is expensive to run this toy?
Very cheap if nothing goes wrong. Very expensive if it does.
It's something like a drive shaft, yeah? Drive shaft.
yeah. I mean, if you have do a full season, which includes racing in Europe and over here, so probably 10 or 12 races a year. Fingers crossed, if nothing goes wrong, probably £8,000, something like that, 8 to 10,000.
Then the man, he steps right up to the microphone, says at last, just as the time bell rings, good night, now it's time to go home. He makes it fast, one more thing. We are the Sultans. We are the Sultans of Swing.
This is it, guys. This is end of this Saturday and I am already on the way home. I'm really tired because the race was amazing and the organization of the race was really amazing. And you know what? It was so friendly, so nice. I tried to be everywhere. I tried to film everything, and that's why I am tired right now. I want to say big thanks to everyone there at the circuit, to every driver. Guys, you shared so many information with me, with channel subscribers, IRS WO1F subscribers, with everyone who's gonna see this video. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot to organizers. Thanks a lot to everyone, marshals and everyone. So this is it. End of Saturday, end of week number 5. I am going home. Seriously, as soon as I arrive, I want to sleep, and after that I'm gonna move forward into week number 4. See ya.